Hey folks, I've got Anthony Scaramucci, who is the founder and managing partner at Skybridge Capital. Anthony, great to be doing this in person with you.
It's great to be here. See, this is great. This backdrop here is fantastic. I love the logo. I love the orange bee.
Yeah.
You're up your game, man. You're up in your game in the podcast world.
Thanks to you and your constructive criticism many moons ago. So Anthony, I'm a big fan of yours. You've been in the investment space for a long time. What are your thoughts on how the environment has changed around crypto from the government?
Look, I try to call balls and strikes in my life. The Trump administration has transformed the game. I think the bad news for the United States, unfortunately, is we're about a half a decade behind, and in some cases a full decade behind some of our global competitors. But the Trump administration has ended the war on crypto. They've advanced the ball on regulation. They've got crypto-friendly people at the SEC, the CFTC. I think the political winds have shifted. I think it's going to be very hard for Democrats to be anti-crypto. And I think it's turned out that there's no anti-crypto vote. There's a crypto vote, but there's no anti-crypto vote. So, guys, let's get over it. Let's help the United States maintain its financial services leadership, because I think that's very, very important for the United States. 125 plus years of financial services leadership, and crypto has to be part of the future. And I applaud the Trump administration for seeing that and acting on it. I guess the next step, though, is just to make sure that this is bipartisan.
Absolutely. I'm very happy President Trump is pro-crypto. I'm not a fan of his meme coin. How do you feel about that?
All right, but that's what happens with Donald Trump. I mean, you got to take the whole. Let me tell you something. You got to, you go to the Trump buffet at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
You can't walk away with pro-crypto regulation. You can't walk away with a little bit of a tax cut.
Right.
And you go, can I have a side order of banking deregulation? Trump says, no. You got to eat the whole goddamn thing. You got to eat the meme coin. You got to eat Canada being the 51st state. You got to eat the attack on Greenland. Maybe we're going to take over Panama. Let's drop a tariff bomb on every one of our allies, including our adversaries. So you are forced to eat the whole thing with the Trump buffet. And so I'm not in love with the meme coin, but that's part of Donald Trump. That's who he is.
It is what it is. Now, Congress is working on legislation, the Clarity Act, which is a market structure bill, and the Genius Act, which is a stablecoin bill.
Don't you love the fact that they're called stable and genius?
Genius.
Yeah.
I think that.
Yeah,
there was some plot
there.
You know
you love that.
What are your thoughts on that, and do you anticipate those getting passed this year?
I do. I'll be bold enough to say I think they get passed before the August recess. I think these guys are working hard on it. I think they've made some compromises and bridges, and I think it's going to advance pretty quickly. I don't think the Democrats want to be on the wrong side of this. And again, just think like a political leader for a second. You're going into 26. You may be up for re-election. You're going to have your opponent be pro-crypto. You're going to be anti-crypto. First of all, you're going to miss out on a lot of money. You're going to miss out on a lot of votes. And you're going to miss out on a lot of economic opportunity for your constituents. So that's a negative trifecta. And I think these guys have decided that we're going to move the game into a post-partisan discussion, meaning we don't have a partisan discussion about trading stocks and bonds. We don't have a partisan discussion about trading oil or gold. And so let's not have one related to crypto.
That absolutely makes sense. And do you think, Anthony, you've been through the markets. We know a blow-off top is coming sometime this year. That could be a top signal for Bitcoin. 150K legislation goes into place and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I have experienced 9 colossal, epic bear markets. In the business 37 years. It can be brutal in the bear markets. The big message for people is you got to see things through. Obviously, probably one of the most painful periods of my career was after the FTX debacle. And in 2022, we were really hurting. We held our positions, stuck to our positions. And I will tell people unleveraged is the right way to go in this market. Because, what the leverage is, Buffett would tell you that the leverage is a spear coming out of the steering wheel of your sports car, and you're driving at night on an icy mountain road. When you need to hit the brake, that's when you don't want the leverage plunging into you. And so stay unlevered, Stay focused on the long term. And yes, there's going to be a blow off top here somewhere. And yes, there'll be a huge correction. Bitcoin can crash from 350,000 down to 250. I'll be a super happy camper. There'll be other people say, "Oh, it's over, it's over." But just relax.
Well, it's funny you mentioned leverage because Warren Buffett's partner in crime, rest in peace, Charlie Munger, said the way you can go broke: women, leverage, and booze. Right?
Yeah. No, he left out drugs, bro. Charlie was an old school guy. He left out the drugs, but the drugs can get you too.
Yeah. So Anthony, Circle went and did an IPO. And is this the IPO season for crypto?
Well, first off, fully disclosed, I was an investor pre-IPO. I congratulate Jeremy and his team. I think they've done a phenomenal job. And I do think you'll see more. I think Kraken will likely go public this year, if not in the next couple of months. There was a neobank, not necessarily in the crypto space, called Chime, went public today. And so the IPO window has opened. I think that's good news. What I'm a little disappointed about, and this is because of regulation, we have less great companies going into the hands of the public. So it's hard for the public to get access to XAI, SpaceX, lots of high-profile, privately traded or privately held companies that are not going public because of the onerous regulation. So I'm hoping for some delayering activity from the SEC that allows the public to get themselves on the hands of some of these great companies. Remember, when I was a kid, in 1986, Microsoft went public. And man, if you were smart enough to own Microsoft and write Apple Computer, let the public have an opportunity to have jockeys like Brian Armstrong, Jeremy Allaire, all-stars CEOs like that, have their money allocated towards. So I hope there's more public offerings. I hope there's some less regulation associated with that.
So let's say the SEC updates the accreditation laws, but also could tokenization be something that companies can do ahead of an IPO, if that makes sense?
Yeah, listen, I think that's also coming. If you can get Larry Fink on your program, I'll channel my Larry Finkishness, if you will. That's happening the next 3 years. Imagine a situation, Tony. I've got my phone over there. On my phone is my Starbucks stock. It's been tokenized. I walk into a local Starbucks, they're having a share repurchase, and they'll give me a 20% discount on the drink that I'm about to buy from them if I move a sliver of my Starbucks stock over to the barista over the blockchain. Okay, why can't that happen? Why can't that happen? Why couldn't that happen at a Walmart? Why couldn't that happen at Walt Disney? The point I'm making is there's going to be a lot more fungibility, a lot more liquidity on chain, and it's going to open up a whole range of potential positive commercial outcomes for people.
Now, I think it was just yesterday, Bank of America's CEO confirmed they are indeed working on a stablecoin. They're also working on a joint stablecoin with the rest of the banks, JP Morgan. What is your outlook on the stablecoin market and the impact it may have on the US dollar?
Well, I think this is the sweet spot. People need to understand that we need to get this regulation passed, and we need to have clarity on stablecoins, because look at somebody like Tether, not well known in the United States, or at least not used in the United States because of regulation, but Tether has more treasuries, U.S. treasuries on its balance sheet than Germany, the sovereign country of Germany, the sovereign country of Japan. And so what we know, more stablecoin proliferation, if I'm saying that word properly, leads to more dollar supremacy, because we're going to mark these stablecoins in U.S. dollar, and that will strengthen the U.S. dollar's position around the world.
Is Skybridge looking at doing something along those lines, or helping another company do something like that?
Well, like I said, I'm an investor in Circle. We have an ETF where we own a lot of Coinbase in the ETF, so we're huge investors in Coinbase, at least through that pass-through. I own a lot of Bitcoin on the firm's balance sheet. We own Bitcoin in the firm's funds. We own Solana, Avalanche. We own Polkadot. I don't see us going into the stablecoin space. We're just too small of a company. But I do see us as enablers. We have a big conference business. We've been 15 years in the conferencing business, 16 years now, hundreds of thousands of delegates. And I've been trying to use that platform to convert traditional finance people into at least thinking more about DeFi. And so a lot of different organizations, a lot of different coins have partnered with us to help out with that experience.
I know you got to go. Final question. What are you most excited about in crypto for this year?
I'm excited about you, my man. Come on, I want to hang out with you.
Thank you, man.
I need some thinking crypto swag.
We're going to do an in-person interview. I record in the financial district at Wall Street.
All right, well, I want to do that. But in addition to you, the thing I'm most excited about is getting this legislation passed, because this legislation getting passed is a game opener for the traditional finance people. Yes, Larry Fink is there. Abigail Johnson from Fidelity is there. But the money center banks are coming, and that's when you'll start to see the real maturity in the industry. And my big message to Thinking Crypto viewers and listeners is we're still very, very, very early.
On that note, I'll let you go. Thank you
brother.
so much.
All right, you're looking good, man.
Yeah, likewise.
I like the pocket square, by the way. Looking good.